to work together to get the word out about the Cincinnati Fringe Festival. Clear eyes, full houses, finish the fringe. And now it's my absolute pleasure to introduce to you JiNKiES by Queen City Flash out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Please enjoy.
Where were we? Right. I'm a 15-year-old teen detective.
And I'm a canine companion who's secretly a scaredy cat.
Don't fuck with the formula if it works, y'all.
Hey, should I call 911 or that teen sleuth girl detective?
Harold, up in those trees. It's that teen sleuth girl detective.
I started saying it as a gentle fuck you to people who were gobsmacked by women who are young and accomplished, but dipshits are dense.
It had been a year since Nolan Blackwell had come to the town of Mars Majestic, and in that year she had trapped monsters and exposed haunted houses. Barely a weekend would go by before she would catch rumor of some pink and peeling phantasm down at the old tanning salon.
The spray tan banshee. The sun scream!
And now you're probably wondering, Jesus shit, where do y'all live? Don't let it shock you, friends. You can fit a lot of dark secrets into something small.
Nolan Blackwell, teen sleuth girl detective, and her dog. What we do in our spare time, you've only ever fantasized about late at night, under your covers, with the lights out.
And we do it doggy style.
No, what? No, I meant like up all night under your covers with a flashlight reading a mystery book.
Yeah. Doggy style.
No.
Summer had been tripping along lazily for the duo, the only real distraction, of course, being...
The demon were-shipper! Casper, hey, it's okay, pal. A rash of break-ins at that nearby gated lakefront community, the one with the artificial beach, scrappy dunes. What really had the police baffled, though, the only items that were missing were sheepskin rugs. Now, hasn't that got your brain turning somersaults?
Ooh, intrigue.
You hear that? Sounds like a break-in on the second floor. A demon were-shepherd.
Yipe, 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 yipe.
The town really had its heart set on this one being a werewolf. But when it turned out to be a ghost shepherd, everyone kind of lost interest. But the Mars Majestic Sentinel wasn't going to let a little thing like werewolves aren't real get in the way of a good headline. The Demon
Were-Shepherd!
Yipe, yipe, yipe.
They say he searches for his flock by the light of the full moon.
Ooh. Yeah.
And also the other moons.
They say his bite will turn you into a shepherd. Which doesn't make a ton of sense.
No. Houses ransacked, police baffled, innocent shepherds beaten up in the streets. It must be my motherfucking birthday. And now you can hear him ransacking the second floor, tearing it apart, searching. We don't have much time, but oh, it's so good. Okay, quickly. Nathan Gomber died a rich man with a hidden fortune from selling livestock. An old note tucked inside the family Bible revealed that he had tattooed a map onto the hide of his favorite sheep and let the wool grow back out. But when his two nephews shaved the rug in his study, no map turned up. He must have gotten his favorite sheep confused with some bullshit regular sheep. And sold the map at his cute little downtown boutique, Dazzled Gifts. And now the two nephews are locked in a race to find the missing sheep. Casper! It's already dead.
You're welcome.
Oh, this? Yeah, Casper and I got here first. It ain't hard to find a spare key when your best friend knows every dog butt in town.
It didn't even taste like dog shit.
And now you can hear him coming down the stairs.
They say his shepherd's crook can only be stopped by a silver bullet.
They say the third Twilight book could have had more werewolves, and I agree.
It's a strong opinion. The little white dog with the limp hides on the opposite end of the darkened living room.
Nolan Blackwell stands with her back against the wall at the foot of the stairs. And now you're probably wondering, shouldn't she be home? And isn't she scared? There are 3 things that you don't understand about teen detectives. Number 1.
You can't scare us with some monster mask. Since when do adults show you who they really are? The moment they find out you're at risk is the same moment the costumes go on. The friendly officer, the concerned teacher, the soccer coach who gets you. You understand what I'm going through? You ever spent the night at a possessed iron foundry because it beat going home? I didn't think so. So next time, before you try to run me off with some latex and a wig, before you try to outmaneuver me with some dry ice and an old phonograph, before you take out a second home mortgage to get yourself a haunted dirigible, ask yourself, who's really the one at risk? Is it the battle-hardened kid who's had to fight for everything? Or is it the goddamn everybody else who's already written her off? What you got ain't shit compared to what I've already been through. So take heed, Mr. Monster Man, because you're gonna get fucked.
You're gonna get fucked doggy style. Oh no! I hear it now. I'm so sorry. We just met. You don't start with that.
The demon were-shepherd raised his shepherd's crook. Yeah. And howled! Accidentally getting his crook ensnared in a tripwire. The tripwire tugged on a piece of cheese that was attached to the wrong end of a mousetrap. The mousetrap snapped, launching into the air.
A love grenade!
What? No, not a what? Jesus!
A billiard ball!
The billiard ball arced into the other room through the air and landed on...
A dynamite plunger!
Did not! Stop it!
Onto the on switch of an egg beater.
The egg beater's motor whirred, spooling in another wire that was attached to...
A slingshot loaded with ninja stars!
Casper!
And to a series of books that dominoed into a bowling ball that fell off the top of a bookcase that fell onto an improvised seesaw that catapulted into the air!
A large open net. The net arced through the air toward the... I didn't say sit down, thank you. Toward the demon were-shepherd, and I could already see the words forming on the startled monster's lips.
And I would have gotten away with it, too, if it weren't for these meddling... Oh, cool, never mind.
The demon were-shepherd turned and fled back up the staircase.
Oh, shit. Seriously?
Nolan Blackwell tore off in pursuit, but the staircase was dark and carpeted.
Ow! Ow! Who carpets a fucking staircase?
It took the better part of an hour for the two of them to hobble their way back to Grandma Julie's house. Nolan holding onto her rib cage and breathing shallow. The two of them stared up at the open second-story bedroom window. The two of them stared up at the vines and latticework leading up to that window.
And one of them stared over at her 60-pound dog.
Aww. And decided instead to ring the doorbell. It should have taken Grandma Julie a lot longer to get to the door.
Can I help you, miss? Are you lost?
The best way to describe Grandma Julie is old and salty. Like a favorite beach blanket. Or cured meats.
Ha ha, very funny. Can we save the life lessons for tomorrow? I'm in a fair amount of pain right now.
Not so loud, please. My granddaughter is sleeping upstairs.
Wow, you are really committed to this bit.
Well, good night, dear.
Old and salty, but comforting too. By the time Nolan had lifted her dog back in through that window, Grandma Julie had already filled a bag with ice and put on a pot of tea.
Go for a ride in the car.
The next morning, Grandma Julie took Nolan and I downtown with her so that she could have her brains stuffed back into her head.
She was wearing pink rollers. Grandma Julie dropped us off at the doctor's office on her way to the beauty parlor. No, sit.
Suspicious.
Stay.
Oh.
No, sit. Dr. Goodwin ran a small family practice out of a converted house on 3rd Street. He was also an absolute quack. One time, he cut a wart off of my thumb and then told me to bury it before the sun went down. Thank you. Grandma Julie liked him because she believes that the crazy ones are more trustworthy. And in his defense, that wart never came back.
Take a deep breath. And another.
What terrors awaited Nolan inside the Maya doctor's laboratory? I'd already seen one kid come out, half transformed into a mummy, his arm and leg wrapped up in bandages.
You're going to feel some pressure.
Ow!
Just a little bruising. I'll write you a prescription.
Thanks. On my way out, my best friend was already waiting for me. Careful, pal. Come on, let's go.
We passed by a hardware store, thank you so much, and a vacant storefront that used to be a pawn shop at Burns Pharmacy. Nolan held the door open long enough for me to slink inside. I run up the center aisle and sit, lift up my hind legs, and drag my ass across the carpeting. Not because anything itches.
Casper!
Sometimes it's just fun to hear your name.
Like most people in Mars Majestic, Mike Burns, the pharmacist, and his wife, Tracy, were old family friends. I approached the counter with my prescription for oxycodone.
10 milligrams. What did you do?
I fell last night and landed on my ribs.
Take an Advil.
From across the pharmacy, his wife, Tracy, shouts,
What's wrong, Mike?
Dr. Feelgood strikes again.
"What?"
Tell your grandmother, I'm not filling this.
On my way out of the pharmacy, Tracy says,
How's your mother?
she's fine.
Well, tell her I'm praying for her.
Casper. 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 Hey, what are you doing, pal? Casper.
I think that woman's got a Slim Jim in her purse.
You made a mistake.
The town of Mars Majestic, early August and desperately hot. Y'all, it's so hot that even the big water fountain at the center of town is like, hey, suck off, get your own.
It hadn't rained in nearly a month, and the heat and humidity had left the slowly baking streets of the town largely deserted. Unless you could find some relief.
Does your dog like food? Does he like it all the time? Will he eat it off the floor? Will he steal it off your plate? Will he lick it off your finger? Will he lick it off your face? Does your dog like food?
Go get it, boy! Casper led us through the post office, excuse me, and across a vacant lot. And by the time we caught up with the ice cream truck, I was feeling a little lost.
Hey, it's my worst customers.
Your best customers? We see you every day.
Customers pay.
Ouch.
What will it be? Melted or freezer burned?
We'll take whatever you're getting rid of. He handed me 2 expired Bob Weird pants.
Stay out of trouble, you two.
Thanks, Cunningham. If you believed Aunt Liz's gossip, which was usually dead on, Cunningham was on disability with a heart condition. He was also on Xanax. The disability ran out on the 14th, the Xanax on the 4th. He needed a job that was under the table and dealt in cash. Some days you could hardly understand him for his slurred speech. But he was out there every day, sometimes until long after dark. I think that was why I liked him. Cunningham had his shit together, despite the rest of it. You got a brain freeze, bud?
It's a trap! The food is fighting back from the inside!
Yeah, that's brain freeze.
What new disease is this?
Come here, it'll go away.
Nobody's ever felt this way before!
Casper backed across the road and ran smack into a large gate, a heavy chain with a padlock around it. Beyond it, a long, twisting drive and a windowless factory. God only knows how long it had been shut down. Just some old wrought iron gate with a name spelled out above it in a wide arch. Stratemeyer.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
Excuse me?
The last kid who went in there never came back. Or he did. Honestly, you kids are all the same to me.
But if you're trying to keep a teenager from nosing around, the last thing you should ever say is, I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
Where did that gate come from? I mean, I've never seen it before. Oh, Casper, you're in my way.
She was supposed to be recuperating.
Maybe because it wasn't there before? Some kind of gate phantasm? I mean, that makes sense. Oh, Casper, move.
But she couldn't get that gate out of her mind.
Stratemeyer. You know something is up if the Stratemeyers are involved. Oh, I'll get my books. Casper, you're underfoot.
So she'd been given a taste of a mystery and was hankering for more.
Nothing. Just statue dedication this and Rotary Club that. It's absurd. Casper.
She was absolutely hooked.
Okay, maybe if we just get it out of our heads, something will come to us. No, stop it. I'm just going to the bathroom.
Oh, my bad.
Casper, sit. Stay.
No, you said it before, and I was like, I got it now. I got it.
Casper, I'm shutting the door! You hop up for me. Can I get 2 fingers? Yeah, sure. Maybe these. Maybe these. Well, don't look!
She's dead!
You have abandonment issues, you know that?
Used to be, if your shit was out of sorts, you'd have to go and speak to the elders or the oracles. For Nolan Blackwell, that generally meant sitting out on the front porch and waiting for Grandma Julie to fix her evening cocktail.
Hey, Grandma Julie, did the Stratemeyers ever have a factory?
You stay out of there.
There's no mystery. I just saw their name on a gate. That's all.
It was a textile factory. Employed half the town. Gave half the town cancer. The government shut them down.
Why?
Cancer.
Oh.
From the chemicals and the dyes.
That's I should have figured that out.
Now can I please enjoy both of these Long Island iced teas?
Nolan and Grandma Julie sat for a long while on her front porch swing. The evening breeze almost too thick to talk through.
Your mother's coming to dinner tomorrow.
Mom's in town?
You don't have to decide anything. You just have to listen.
The fuck she don't! It had been a year since Nolan Blackwell had come to the town of Mars Majestic. A year without living out of suitcases, without being pulled out of school, without having to visit a hospital or a treatment center. And if those are your benchmarks, this is a pretty good year. I'd only ever met her mother the one time. And I don't plan on repeating that shit.
Where the fuck does Mom get off? I mean, to just walk in and pronounce that she's got her life together?
The slamming of the screen door shook me awake from underneath Grandma Julie's Oldsmobile. You know the one.
Fucking live with her. For what? Long enough to unpack, hang up a few posters, make a nightstand, and get out of our asses again?
I don't know if she was being led by accident or anger or drive, but by the time she was done, she had charted a path back to a gate underneath a haunted name.
Oh. I'm sorry, pal. I should have seen this one coming. She's not going to hurt you again. She's not going to hurt either one of us. Teen detectives and their monsters. Can one survive without the other? Like if Peter Pan was all, fuck this, I'm going to get my GED. Would Captain Hook dry out? Or would it be too big of a shock for his system? Sometimes I wonder if bad storms only come to those who can weather them. A teen detective and her dog walk past an abandoned factory in the dead of night. And, sure as shit, a flashlight shines in an upstairs window.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you. That's the factory where they made snow globes about dead teens who snoop around in factories.
Come on, Casper.
Nolan slipped past the gate and led us down the long drive towards the factory. The moon ought to be goddamned ashamed of itself, but it ain't, and rises anyway over the top of the building. The doors hang wide open like a mouth, while busted and broken concrete steps lead up to it like some grotesque underbite. Busted out windows gaze down at us. This building is alive. It's calling out to us. Nolan Blackwell had never been more keenly drawn to a mystery in her entire life. Even I am overcome by some strange intuition. I think that lady's goddamn Slim Jim is in there. But before we can investigate further, we see a flashlight coming down the stairs.
Casper and I dive behind the crumbling concrete steps and wait.
Footsteps and heavy breathing, and then the sound of sneakers kicking up gravel, and somebody turns a corner.
We follow. It's a man carrying a large box. As we round the back of the building, we see him standing in the moonlight. He's too far away to make out any details, but it doesn't matter. He's loading the box into the back of an ice cream truck. Solid object work.
The next morning, Aunt Liz calls and sets a firm agenda for the day.
I've got your mom, her things, and lunch. Meet us there.
And now Casper and I have been waiting for over an hour, sheltering from the heat, under a faded vinyl sign that reads,
One-bedroom apartment starting at $4.99. Move in today.
Aunt Liz's SUV pulls up, and I wonder if this is what it was like watching the Hindenburg Moor. Mom climbs out of the back seat.
Oh, good. You made it, she says. Oh, that dog just doesn't like me. She puts her arm around Nolan and turns her towards the apartment complex. Don't worry, her mother says. It's a lot nicer on the inside.
A large dumpster stands in front of the apartment complex, overflowing with furniture and clothes.
There's a lot of turnover here,
Aunt Liz says, and then mouths the word overdoses, as if Jesus might think we're still having a pleasant conversation if he can't hear us. Aunt Liz helps Grandma Julie out of the SUV and opens the back. Not dissimilar to the dumpster, it is overflowing with black trash bags.
Everybody grabs a pair of bags and makes their way upstairs. We find the apartment door standing open. The small, unplugged window AC unit. Looks like it's waiting for somebody to euthanize it.
Aunt Liz and Grandma Julie start pulling out things and cleaning the counters. Casper curls up on the cool front step and refuses to come in. Mom and I head back out for more trash bags.
I got a job, her mother says. Hotel front desk work. That's what I wanted to tell you last night.
Oh.
Raise after 30 days.
That's great.
In a couple of months, my credit score should be good enough to get a car.
Cool.
I could practically get us a free night anywhere in the country. We could go on a vacation this Christmas break.
Wow.
So, just be thinking about where you might want to go.
Sure.
And maybe this dumpster, overflowing with the lives of previous tenants, isn't some dark omen to her mother. Maybe she really does see a new home, a fresh start, a second chance. But not Nolan. Nolan just sees a dumpster and her life in trash bags.
It wasn't second or third chances. It was too many do-overs to count. Aunt Liz had kept Mom's phone bill current for emergencies when the call came in. She had a job lined up, but she just needed to have an address, which sounds illegal as fuck to me, but what are you gonna do, you poor bitch? Call your lawyer? So Aunt Liz paid first and last month's rent, and Grandma Julie co-signed the lease, and now we all get to go through the motions of maybe this time it will stick. And Mom is unpacking the trash bags, and the trash bags aren't really the point, but real quick, can I just ask, what the fuck happened to the luggage? We used to have luggage. When I packed up my bedroom for the last time, it went into moving boxes. What happened to those? Did we use up all our dignity tokens? And life was just like, not you, you get plastic bags. And Mom's pulling out shit that wasn't stored well, shit that I can't believe we kept, shit that I barely remember. A bag of winter clothes, 3 sizes too small. Glass rattles around as she pulls out broken picture frame after broken picture frame. And I realize we're not making a home. We're making a haunted house. Aunt Liz sees me and asks, what's wrong with you? And I want to be like, you fucking serious? Why are we doing this? Why are you paying money? Why are you co-signing leases? Why are you cleaning counters? She's just gonna fuck it all up again. She can't help it. None of this is gonna last, and we're all gonna be right back where we started. But you don't get to say things like that. Because deep down, you know that you're the only reason this lifeline still exists. Because you are the advocate. So you remind yourself the same thing you've had to tell them over and over again. It's just an illness. Can I just say one time, even if it's not true, I just need to know that I said it out loud one time. It's not an illness. It's not an illness, because if this was an illness, then who the fuck is culpable for all of this? But you don't get to ask questions like that when you're the advocate. You get to beg. She just needs a clean start. She can't help it. It's not her fault. She just needs another chance. She says she'll be better this time. She says she'll go to meetings. She just needs another chance. You beg for mercy. You plead her case. You offer apologies she's unable to mutter, and you pull on old heartstrings because you are the last load-bearing wall, and this haunted house will stand. Because for all of its demons and its ghosts and shackles and blood-curdling shrieks, it would kill you if it fell. And Casper is still cowering outside. And Aunt Liz is still staring at you. And oh God, how long have you been standing here? So you go to the window because it's the only place in the apartment you can stand to look. And of course they did. Where else do you build low-income housing? Where else do we let the poor live? Outside the window I can see the Stratemeyer textile factory.
Nolan.
It says...
Nolan, it's okay. You can't solve your mother. You never could. But you can solve me, Nolan. Come to me.
I don't say anything. I just leave.
Nolan takes us back to the gates and desperately wishes for the next clue to come. And that's how you know they no longer teach the monkey's paw in 9th grade English. Some wishes you just don't make. I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
Why does everyone always think I'm about to go in? Hello.
Hello, dear.
Hello.
You looked like you were about to tear down that gate.
I was just looking.
Oh, I can understand that. I, too, walk past here some evenings just to look.
You know this place?
I should think so. I worked here for most of my life.
Really?
I was 13 years old. And I marched up to F.W. Dixon, the shop manager, and I said, Mr. Dixon, I want a job. He said, you have to be 16. But I looked at F.W. Dixon and I said, Mr. Dixon, I'm not like these millennials who just want everything handed to them. No, I want to work for my living.
Seems like that's not what you said.
Well, the angry men on cable news say that's what I said, so that's probably what I said.
Yeah, so why did this place close down?
That's where I met my Danny. He was in Korea, you know.
Yeah, I heard the government shut them down.
Oh, he used to come down and visit me at the looms, and he would say, you know, you're my best girl. And I would say, oh, Danny, oh, Danny.
Sorry, I'm just interested in the chemicals and the dyes.
Oh, the chemicals and the dyes.
You know about that.
Oh, yes, yes. Danny and I used to dump them in the lake.
What? The two of you?
Well, of course. So they made us volunteer because of the danger. But Danny and I were always so eager to spend any moments together. We would dump the chemicals into the lake, and then we would sit side by side and dip our ankles in the water and watch the surface froth and boil while the sun set and listen to the screamings of the fish creatures.
Did you just say fish creatures?
And I'm not too old or prudish to admit this. We would do sex.
But before that, though, about the frothing and the screaming.
Oh, he would put his arms around me and he would say, oh, Danny, oh, Danny.
Are you both named Danny?
And then he would unclasp my brassiere.
You can't think this is a thing I want to hear more about.
And then he would gently motorboat me.
And then, just like footsteps in an attic, like headlights in a dense fog, she was gone. Fucking hell.
Nolan stared past the gate at the old derelict building and she set her resolve. There was only one way to get to the bottom of this mystery, and to do that, Nolan Blackwell was gonna have to run headlong into the belly of the... Oh, fuck, where'd she go? Shit. Oh, never mind, never mind.
When they only give you 22 minutes plus commercials to figure shit out, you kind of have to run headlong into the first abandoned building you come across.
Nolan Blackwell was high-stepping it across town.
If a complete stranger says to you, we got a spectral barnstormer haunts the old airfield, you'd have to be a pretty dense fuck to be like, well, that's all the fact-finding I need. Come on, gang, we got a mystery to solve.
A couple of streets over, she sees a long line of children.
If someone says to you, I'll give you $1 million to spend the night in this haunted mansion, don't listen to them. They ain't got $1 million. They got a murder list is what they got.
She jumps in back of the line behind a girl counting quarters.
No, you gather your clues, you trust your guts, and you don't do anything rash. And if you think someone you trust is lying to you, get ahead of that shit. It never ends well.
Well, if it isn't my worst customers, what will it be? Melted or freezer burn?
Actually, I'm buying something today. You got any more?
You ever seen somebody turn on you in an instant?
Where did you get those?
I think you know. Big place, old gate, kind of a fixer-upper.
You stay out of that factory. Do you understand me? Stay away, or you're going to get hurt.
Half the kids in town know you. Do you sell to them too, or just to their parents?
Get away from my truck, kid.
And then Cunningham sped away, turning back towards the center of town.
Grandma Julie had put her lunch away by the time we got back.
Aunt Liz pulled Nolan into the small bedroom.
It was supposed to be a homecoming meal. You could at least try.
The family hung around until after dark. And then Aunt Liz took Grandma Julie back home. Nolan could see the factory out the window, could see her mother arranging the pantry, could feel both of them reaching out to her. It was more than she could bear. She made for the door. "You're not going out," her mother said.
What?
"It's after 10 o'clock. It's bedtime."
Bedtime? I don't have a bedtime. I haven't had a bedtime.
Well, I'm tired. You're in for the night.
I'm just going home.
No, it's late, and you're done running around all over
I
town.
didn't say running around all over town. I said I was going home. You think I'm lying?
I think you're used to your grandmother letting you do whatever you feel like. Maybe she doesn't care if you want to storm out of the house after every meal or stay out all night, but I do.
Is this parenting? You parenting right now? You don't get to start parenting because you're ready.
You're 15, Nolan. 15-year-olds don't get to do whatever they want.
You don't have anywhere for me to sleep!
I bought you an air mattress.
Aunt Liz bought me
yes,
an air mattress.
your Aunt Liz bought you an air mattress.
Great! Brand new air mattress to put in the middle of this filthy fucking floor!
Excuse me.
And oh, look at this fully stocked pantry. Let's see, a bunch of dented soup cans, a day-old loaf of bread from the clearance rack, ooh, box of oatmeal for $1. A lot of parenting going on around here.
Let me tell you something. You're not going to talk to me like this.
Or what? You'll kick me out? Make me live with family? You'll disappear for a couple months?
You will never forgive me.
For fuck's sake! You're forgiven. Have all the forgiveness you want. You think this is about forgiveness?
Then what is it about, Nolan?
I just watch you fuck it up again. You want to be the parent. For how long? Tomorrow morning, am I going to have to get myself up, look through the kitchen to see if we have any breakfast, go through your billfold of hoping for lunch money? I think I'm going to get to stare at your closed bedroom door and wonder, if I knock, will she answer? Or will today finally be the day that I find her? I carry Narcan with me everywhere I go. Did you know that? There's a lady at the grocery store, gives them out. I always tell her, Mom's in the car with the baby. She sent me in to get some. She knows I'm lying. She knows I'm not 18. She doesn't care. She can see how desperate I am. You know what she said to me? Last time she said, make sure you give this to your mother, hon. Isn't that funny?
Nolan, I'm trying.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Fine, go. You and that damn dog don't want to be here anyway.
Damn dog. Of course he doesn't want to be here. He's terrified of you.
What did I do?
Are you serious? Or are you just playing dumb, or do you really not remember? When your doctor cut you off your prescription pills, you found a stray and snapped his leg so you could go to a vet.
I didn't do that. Nolan, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, Mom. When you're at your lowest, you'll do anything, and I'm the one who has to remember.
It was pushing 11 o'clock when we got back to the gate. And the night air had done little to abate the heat. Dark clouds rolled in overhead as if the ambiance needed the fucking help. Nolan Blackwell could hear familiar warnings playing out in her head.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
They say a secret society uses that factory to do eyes wide shut stuff.
Because when the stress piles up, we fall back on bad habits.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
Sorry, can we go back to the eyes wide shut thing?
Because when you're at the end of your rope, you'll do anything to feel an ounce of control.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
Seriously, what even happens in that movie? I always fall asleep.
And so, we did that thing that we wouldn't do if we was you.
Let's go in. Yeah, thank you.
Large circular skeletal looms rise up into the air, like what we thought computers looked like in the 1950s. Or like Tesla coils that didn't get into a 4-year school. Whole sections of the roof are missing. It was as if this entire building were saying, beware,
keep out. Seriously, Kevin Bacon, you can't find anywhere else to dance?
I turned back towards Nolan because it was getting the fuck out time when, oh, are you serious? Sit, stay, how fucking hard is that?
I stand at the top of a lit staircase. A pulsing, phosphorescent glow emanates from down below. And you know the old saying, if it emanates, I investigates. I make it to the bottom step and stop. It's a swamp, a layer of thick green floating on top of water. Gases bubble up in little burps and gurgles. Pond scum ripples, and I can tell something large is moving just beneath the surface. Tendrils of rotting woolen fibers crisscross the room, and I see bodies. A dozen or more, all of them floating face down, leaking out themselves as if they'd turned to jelly from the inside out. I wonder who they could be when my mind flashes back to a dumpster overflowing with clothes. There's a lot of turnovers here, Aunt Liz had said. Blame it on the overdoses. How else could this many people disappear without raising the alarm? How many of them have families that are secretly a little relieved they haven't heard from them in a while? I feel like throwing up. I feel like passing out, and then my body says, no, run. And I hear wet footsteps and long, slurping breaths.
I make it up to the second floor, and I run into a room that's, oh shit, actually kind of clean. And like a soft 3 on the spooky chart. A long line of folding tables next to a duffel bag. And inside the duffel bag, I don't know, a clue, maybe. I hear hard-soled shoes coming fast up the stairs.
I make it up to the factory floor.
Like I'm barreling down the stairs.
Casper, oh, thank God, we got to get out of. What is that?
I'm starting to think that lady Slim Jim isn't here after all. Maybe you and I should...
Whoa, hey, Casper. What's wrong, buddy?
Sorry. I was just saying Slim Jims and...
Casper, hey. No. Shh. Come on. Casper, you got to wake up for me, okay? You got to wake... Okay, Casper, you just got to hold on for me, okay? But I just need you to hang on for me just a second, okay? I got this. You just got to take a deep breath for me. That's all I need for you, okay, pal? You just got to hang on. You just got to take a deep breath for me, okay? Here we go. Are you ready? Here we go, buddy. There you go. Come on. It's time to wake up now, Casper. Come on. It's time to wake up.
The young girl held her animal. The girl who had a hard time trusting family. The girl who had a hard time making friends. The girl who had been raised to believe that nothing good can last. Held on to her dog and hoped. She didn't hear the hard-soled steps as he entered the room. Mike Burns, the pharmacist, looked like he had seen better days.
That idiot ice cream man said he'd scared you off. But I knew you wouldn't stay away.
He points to the bag on the floor.
Give me that.
What did you do to my dog?
But team detectives don't need your explanations. Not when all the clues have been laid bare.
I know what you two were making down there. You called him Dr. Feelgood. You refused to fill my prescription. Were you just shoring up your customer base? Or did you know you'd get us another way? Does Cunningham even get paid, or do you just keep a junkie well stocked?
If the pharmacist ever answered, Nolan never heard it. She was too distracted by the wet staccato of footsteps and long, slurping breaths. The monster barely had any form at all. Just a loose jelly mold stuffed inside of an exoskeleton made from a tangled mess of decaying textile fibers. The monster wrapped his arms around the pharmacist. Mike Burns arched his back and screamed! You can sit down now. screams slowly growing muffled as he collapsed in on himself. Like somebody unplugged the bouncy castle with the kids still inside.
There was nothing left of Mike Burns but a husk of skin and loose clothes. The monster turned its gaze toward us, and it would have come for us next if it hadn't been for... The monster shrieked and writhed, and it's kind of an annoying song, but seriously? Oh.
Wait, shit! Fuck! What did I miss?
The girl and her dog hobbled out of the factory, down the drive toward the gate.
They saw an ice cream truck. Its engine running, its theme song blaring, next to a pair of squad cars and an ambulance.
And we knew better than to get mixed up with that shit.
At 2 a.m., the teenager and her dog hobbled across the darkened streets of Mars Majestic, unable to go back home, uncertain as to where that was.
Casper, hey. Let's find somewhere for you to lay down, huh, pal? When I found him, he was just a broken animal, desperate for love. I'm sure he could say the same of me. It's our job to watch over the ones that we love, to keep them from harm.
Nolan Blackwell felt all used up, like somebody had laid her flat on the bathroom counter and palmed out the last drop of toothpaste. She was so overwhelmed by the stress and the exhaustion and the general fuckness of it all. Her brain was screaming, just give me a minute and I will find an answer. But when you are in a state like that, standing still can feel dangerously unpredictable.
What is it, pal? Oh, yeah. I bet we could rest there.
I lead us through the overgrown yard, Nolan staring up at a big hole that used to be a big bay window.
And let this be a reminder as to how hard it is to get any distance from your past. We were back
at the Stratemeyer estate, the setting to a previous adventure. Nolan Blackwell's first mystery in Mars Majestic. We climbed the front steps and pushed through the big front door.
Casper passed out under the portrait of the widow Stratemeyer.
Nolan paced the floor, desperate to think of something to do next. And now you're probably wondering, why doesn't she just stop? And isn't she terrified? There are 3 things that you don't understand about teen detectives. Number 2.
We keep going, despite the terror. Because the more difficult something is, the more it feels like things might shift in your favor if you can just stay the course. The time Mom had been arrested had felt like that. Just some minor charge. Should have gotten out on bail, and Aunt Liz did adult Bible study with the county prosecutor who convinced a judge to give Mom court-ordered treatment. But the treatment center wouldn't have a bed for 4 to 6 weeks, and they would only pick her up if she had a physical address. As it so happened, Mom did have a physical address in the city jail. You ever try to convince family to leave a parent in lockup? It is a fucking weird feeling, dude. Grandma Julie didn't feel good about it. It wasn't the Christian thing to do. And I convinced Aunt Liz, and Aunt Liz convinced her, and so we left Mom.
You have a call from a correctional facility. Do you accept the charges?
Yes.
They're making me sleep on a metal bench.
They won't turn on the heat.
Mom figured out I was at Aunt Liz's. Figured out that between 3:30 and 5 o'clock, I was the only one home. Daily check-ins that involved anger and resentment, or worse, begging and crying.
You have a call from a correctional facility. Do you accept the charges?
Yes.
They're not feeding me.
They won't give me my medicine.
Clever lies intended to make me feel like shit, to make me cave.
You have a call from a correctional facility. Do you accept the charges?
Yes.
They're beating me.
I can show you the bruises.
Why are you doing this to me?
And maybe it was stupid to answer the calls. Maybe it would have been better for everyone to just wait it out. But someone has to be the divining rod that finds water. Someone has to be the lock that holds the river at bay. And you will not catch Nolan Blackwell abandoning anything. I don't remember how many times she called, but I do remember the day the phone bill arrived. Aunt Liz told me I couldn't be in her house if she wasn't home. I had been booted to the public library, and it probably saved my life. I met a Titian-haired girl in a blue roadster. I met a pair of twins on motorcycles. Teen detectives who always helped the downtrodden, who always found the solution. Nancy Drew taught me how to be independent, how to handle being on my own, how to keep pushing when things get dire. I fell in love with a boy named Encyclopedia. I fell in love with a Hank, last name the Cow Dog. The treatment center picked her up. They kept her for 3 weeks. A lot of fucking good it did.
I hear a noise out on the porch and lift my head enough to see a long gray shadow streaking across the floor and a darkened silhouette in an open doorway. Grandma Julie steps inside.
Your mother called. She said you ran off. So I got in my car and looked for the darkest house in town.
Nolan and Grandma Julie sat together in the shadow of the former bay window.
Grandma Julie, why does it keep getting worse?
It was a question. She thought she had retired after years of half-hearted reassurances from aunts and uncles and teachers and friends' mothers. And then Grandma Julie did something remarkable.
Because, Nolan,
She told the truth.
you were dealt a shitty hand.
Old and salty, but comforting too. Like those big cans of three-way Christmas popcorn. Nolan helps Grandma Julie down off the porch. Because Grandma Julie didn't drive after dark, she was also her eyes.
No, Grandma, this town has always had stop signs.
And then, when they got back to her mother's apartment, she helped Grandma Julie to lie down. At 4 a.m. in the town of Mars Majestic, the heat finally broke. Nolan's mother still hadn't come home. She could see the factory through the window, and she thought about the bodies she'd seen there. She thought about her missing mother. She thought about that thing that had been inside the basement of that building, that thing that even now was calling out to her, and she wondered, what other desperate people would it be reaching out to tonight? And then everyone's favorite teen sleuth, girl detective, found a lower reserve.
No, you gotta stay here. It's too dangerous. Sit. Stay. All right, gang. We got a mystery to solve. All right, gang. Everyone be on the lookout for treasure. Jeepers, Casper, what's the matter? Don't you want to find that treasure? Come on, pal, don't be scared. Would you do it for a Slim Jim? All right. How about 2 Slim Jims? 3 Slim Jims. Let's go. Oh no, my glasses.
Oh no, my glasses.
I can't see anything without my glasses.
Careful when you step. Those were Warby Parker. They were fucking expensive.
And then in a long hallway lined with doors, we heard wet footsteps and long slurping breaths.
Where are we gonna roll?
Everybody run! Ah! Chased us down to the floor of the factory where a thick netting of textile fibers blocked our escape. The monster towered over us and let out an unholy scream. Oh, Jesus.
And now you're probably wondering, why is it up to one girl to keep salvaging her family? Why is it up to one girl to keep saving this whole goddamn town? There are 3 things that you don't understand about teen detectives. Number 3.
They can build a trap like that. Hold this by this thing. Push that orange button. Go nuts. Just don't stop. Yeah. Keep going. Keep going.
An egg timer was going off on the far side of the building. An egg timer that was attached to a piece of string. The piece of string, the egg timer rattled and rattled, falling off the high branch, pulling the string which is attached to
a pair of child safety scissors, which are safe enough to use, but sharp enough to cut.
A tripwire!
Yeah.
Snap, 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 snap! The tripwire cut! Releasing the tension of the coiled up spring, launching into the air!
A bucket of assorted balls!
Get your shit, people!
The balls landed out on a grid of mousetraps. The mousetrap snapped, launching into the air.
A squadron of aeroplanes!
The airplanes flew through the air and released parachute men with knives attached to them. The knives cut an intricate series of ropes, which finally released
a large motherfucking net!
The net arched through the air.
The monster screamed!
wasn't for you. I just had to distract you long enough.
The monster had been standing in the low point of the building where the cascading rain had formed a large, milky puddle.
We borrowed this before. I was just returning it.
The monster had no idea what activities had been taking place on the upper floors, but that didn't matter. Most people are caught off guard when they're given a lethal dose of fentanyl. The fentanyl was carried higher and higher by the soaked threads of its exoskeleton. The synthetic opioid hugged the monster, tightening its grip.
If you could talk, this would be the part where you'd say, oh, and I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for meddling, blah, 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 and your dog. It's a shame. It's a shame, really. That's my favorite part.
The monster shrieked, spasmed, and then collapsed into a jelly heap.
Ooh, commitment. Go ahead.
Doggy style.
It's like a 12-year-old wrote this. The Mars Majestic Sentinel carried the story of the ice cream truck driver who, in the midst of an overdose, managed to alert authorities by playing his truck's music. And then the follow-up piece detailing his confession about the hundreds of fake prescription pills found in the back of his truck and the little room in the abandoned factory where he pressed them using fentanyl. As usual, the Mars Majestic Sentinel did not have all the facts, and eventually the story of the missing pharmacist faded from its headlines. Oh well, can't solve every mystery. Casper and I hobbled out of the factory where we found
a woman with a worried look coming down the long drive. Nolan and her mother stared at each other, neither sure of what to do next.
And then the little white dog with the limp stepped forward. Mom put out her hand.
Oh.
It's not about second chances, or third chances, or 20th chances. It's about knowing the chances, placing your bets. Because even if you were dealt a shitty hand, eventually the odds will shift in your favor, and when they do, you want to still be there. Mom took us home. Casper fell asleep on the world's most uncomfortable inflatable mattress. And Mom took a half-off loaf of bread, $1.25 in cheese, and a 49-cent can of soup, and made the most delicious meal I have ever had. It heals you. It sustains you, which is good, because there have been reports of sights and strange sounds coming from the old observatory across town. And whatever is plotting up there, they don't fear teen detectives and their dogs. But they will. Ruh-roh.
Thank y'all so much. We defeated you, Play. So much.